Sunlight accounts for most of the renewable energy used at homes. The most pioneering city in this field is Freiburg. The Rhine flows not far from the city, serving as a border for Germany and France. This is Freiburg, the city of the sun, the city with the most fertile and beautiful natural environment in Germany. Freiburg lies on the western slope of the vast mountain range called Schwarzwald, near the Rhine. It's a small city with a population of only 220,000 people. Since it was named the environmental capital of Germany in 1992, Freiburg has been a role model for green cities and continues to lead today's smart city movement. Located near the French-Swiss border, it has thriving commercial and tourism industries and is an education city that attracts many college students. The time-honored city of Freiburg was actually rebuilt from the ruins of World War II. At the center stands the majestic Freiburg Minster, the only structure that was not destroyed during the war. Freiburg residents recalled the city's long-standing tradition and brought back the beautiful medieval city. What they are just as proud of as their classic architecture is the city's natural environment. The dense black forest spreads out untouched by the city. The observatory rising above it provides a spectacular view befitting the city's moniker, the city of the sun. Freiburg receives more sunshine than anywhere else in Europe.
It's a nice place because a lot of people live here, open-minded people, a lot of students, young people, so people are green-minded here in this place. You can see it like a lot of funny solar cars and stuff like that, and the politics are green in this place. So they're fighting for more environmental friendly stuff and less pollution.
Okay.
Freiburg is a pretty nice city. I like it a lot. It's a green city. It's not that big, not that small. It's got everything you need, I think. I like it a lot.
Freiburg became an eco-city over the decades after it opposed the construction of a nuclear power plant in the 1970s. Worldwide environmental crisis also helped the city realize the need for an alternative solution.
But participation really is important, to talk with the people, to convince them to make things or don't do things. And I think the star really was in the 1970s. There was a big movement against a nuclear plant they wanted to build in the surrounding of Freiburg. And they talked to each other. And this movement against changed to a movement, what do we want? Not what you don't want, but what do we want? And this was the start of the beginning of this renewable energy topic, solar energy.
Freiburg citizens want to safeguard the natural environment they fought so hard for well into the 21st century. Kim Sung-kyun ventures out to the downtown area. He sees small waterways called Beckel, the city's famous landmark along the streets. These narrow runnels, built during the Middle Ages, flow into the Rhine. We first visit Freiburg City Hall, newly opened last year. Kim meets with the urban facility manager. German smart city expert Ali also joins them.
We usually build, whenever we build new houses, passive buildings, Every one of our new schools are passive buildings or better, maybe plus energy. And this building is a net plus energy building. And I will explain a little bit more about it.
Passive buildings designed to save energy are derived from the German word Passivhaus. There are also plus energy buildings that produce more energy than it uses. The new City Hall building demonstrates how energy is managed in Freiburg architecture. This net plus energy building can even transfer energy to another building. Aesthetics are also important. As a place that provides public services, it has an expansive open hall and white interior. In the inner section, a garden surrounds solar panels. It's not only visually pleasing, but also helps cool and heat the building through solar and geothermal energy. Each room is heated and cooled with underground water. People here don't have to stand being hot or cold to save energy. The photovoltaic panels installed on the surface generate more than enough energy.
This new City Hall is very transparent, has a lot of glazing at the outside, and you can also see some wooden pieces that remind of the Black Forest. You can see also photovoltaics, which is very important to reach the net energy plus building standard. We use it for our own workspaces, but we also put it back into the energy network, so it serves everybody. It can go into the neighbor's house, but it can also go in the city center town hall, which is still there.
Bicycles are the most common transportation system. In Freiburg, bikes are faster and more efficient than cars.
Sometimes a tram, but normally I'm using the bicycle.
So bicycle is enough for you to commute to the area in here?
Yes, I use it to go to my work, all the day.
Germany, home to Mercedes-Benz and BMW, is a country that loves automobiles. But in this smart city, cars are no longer welcomed. Since the 1990s, tram lines have been replacing motorways in downtown Freiburg. Since well-planned tram routes connect even more remote places, public transportation has become the fastest and the most convenient means to get around. People ride their bikes to a station before hopping on a tram. The trams are powered by electricity produced by renewable energy.
79%, so almost 80% of the people walk from or bike from A to B, and only 20% go by car. And the traffic is very slow. Normally you have in Germany 50 kilometers per hour, and in Freiburg you normally have 30 kilometers per hour. And that's really an important issue in this aspect, because the bicycle is the fastest vehicle in Freiburg.
Established in 1899, this is the largest transport company in Freiburg. It has long provided tram and bus services to the city residents.
Thanks for accepting us. So this is the place, the VA. So shall we go that way? Yep.
Electrically powered trams first appeared at the end of the 19th century. Interestingly, this electric transport mode has a longer history than automobiles. The The age-old transportation is receiving a new spotlight in the era of smart cities in the 21st century.
We have 74 streetcars, we have 64 buses, and last year we had more than 80 million passengers. That means we have around about 220,000 passengers a day. That's the number of inhabitants of the city of Freiburg.
Their trams and electric buses are in operation all over Freiburg, helping the firm to enjoy an explosive growth.
This is a light rail train from the year 1991. It's 33 meters long, and it has been the first train with one low-floor entrance.
Okay.
Yeah. This one is one of our newest. It's from the year 2015. It's completely low floor and it's 9 meters longer.
Okay.
Streetcars in Freiburg get longer and longer every time because the number of our customers is increasing very, very fast.
A tram's lifespan stands at 40 years. But it may be stretched longer as more efficient and digitalized trams are being developed. To Freiburg citizens, there can be no better means of mobility than trams.
Well, it's very good when you can connect urban planning with mobility planning, because mobility planning is part of urban planning. And that means the offer of environmental friendly modes of transportation should be very good, very attractive.
There's an area in Freiburg that smart city developers are particularly interested in. It's Vauban. Located in southern Germany, near the French border, Vauban used to house the French army following World War II. After the French left the village in 1992, the place underwent extensive urban development. Miss Hannah has been running a bakery here for nearly 20 years.
I live here at Vauban since 2001, and I built my apartment together with our people. The town, Freiburg, they bought the ground to private people, and there were groups, and they built houses together. This was a chance to become owner of an apartment for many people here, and many people took that chance.
The Sun Ship in the Vauban community was built in 1994. An integrated retail and commercial space, the Sun Ship was the world's first energy office to run entirely on solar power and built with the passive construction method. Germany's top name in solar-powered architecture, Rolf Disch Solar Architecture, designed this iconic structure. The firm's office building also produces energy using its huge solar panels. The firm was founded by famed architect Rolf Disch, who was involved in the protest against the construction of a nuclear plant in the 1970s.
In fact, it was the first nuclear power plant in the world which was not built because of citizens' protests. It was a long process going over like 15, 20 years, and Mr. Disch got involved there, and many people got involved there. In this process, people started thinking about that it is not enough to say we don't want nuclear power. We have to come up with an alternative.
All the homes in the Vauban district were built with the passive method, characterized by high insulation and high efficiency. When solar panels were installed, the home's annual electricity consumption went down to zero. The entire city is clean and green. It's a city of carbon-free houses and streets without cars. A look at the Vauban makes you realize just how much homes and vehicles contribute to urban pollution.
In countries like Germany, the energy consumption is about 40% buildings, 30% industry, 30% traffic. So the biggest part is buildings. 75% of the energy consumed in buildings comes from heating and cooling. So this is the big part. If you can reduce that to almost zero, this is a big contribution in the fight against climate change. And this is the technology, the top level technology we call passive house technology.
This firm went a little further than just designing energy-saving or zero-energy homes. It came up with a plursenergihaus that stores excess electricity in a public grid and uses it later. This architectural design aims to save every bit of solar energy. The building that stands out among all the eco-friendly structures in Vauban is the heliotrope. This residence produces about 5 times more energy than it needs and sells excess electricity to bring in an annual average income of €4,000.
The building is basically it's a cylinder, and one half of it is completely glazed, all windows, and the other part is almost completely closed, very small windows and heavily insulated. Now we have hot summers and we have cold winters. On winter days, we want the sun to heat up the building, so the glazed side, the side with the windows, follows the sun. On hot days like today, you want to avoid that. You don't want the sun to heat up the building. So the part with the few windows and with the heavy insulation follows the sun, so that the building doesn't overheat. That's the basic idea. And it also has a big photovoltaic installment on the roof, which also turns independently. It's a tracking system, which always finds the ideal angle to the sun.
Batteries capable of storing excess electricity is imperative for the plursenergihauses in the smart city to function more effectively. An architecture firm in downtown Freiburg.
Hello.
Welcome here.
Yeah?
You can follow me.
Yes?
The firm, pursuing sustainable architecture and urban planning, also handles various smart city innovations. One of them is an energy grid that stores solar energy in a battery form to be supplied to buildings and vehicles later. The problem at the moment is the price.
Of course, it's more expensive, but after some time, after some years, it will pay back, not only because of the generating of the sustainable energy, but also of the multiple use of the battery that will also provide energy, for instance, for the electromobility, for electrical cars and electric buses and these systems. It could be like a sustainable green cell, like a green cell that is the basic of an area, the basic of a district, that could organize all the energy consumption and the energy gaining for the whole area. First of all, for the buildings, second for the district, and then for the whole city.
This firm, specializing in smart city architecture, has led projects not only in Germany, but also in subtropical regions like southern China and Taiwan to find ways to save more energy. What kind of living environment would such a fervent pursuit of energy conservation bring us? In Vauban, plants grow lushly on buildings and keep the air clean and fresh. The Vauban community exemplifies the clean natural environment that Freiburg is so proud of. In fact, the whole town is a big park. A living environment that provides more green spaces and greater relaxation is guaranteed by cutting-edge environmental technologies.
Guten Morgen.
Guten Morgen. Hi, hello.
Das ist ja mein Chef.
Hi, Andrea.
Andrea Bertuccini must have given over 100 guided tours of Vauban to foreign visitors. Today, he will be the guide for smart city specialists Kim Song-kyun and Ali. He first takes them to the main road in Vauban.
This is the main street, and it is interesting because you said normally when you see a street, in a normal street, it's a place for cars. And look at the street. We have more or less, if you 40 meter wide, more or less, and then just look at the space devoted to the cars, water, and then we have a huge pavement for people again. So out of 40 meters wide, only maybe 3 or 4 meters are devoted to cars.
There are hardly any cars on the streets except for the main road. The vehicle ownership rate in Vauban is only 17 cars for every 100 people. That means the residents can travel around the area without the threat of cars. Vauban is a new city, but not a completely planned city. This village is evolving naturally with the help of the residents and specialists from diverse fields.
So there are many companies, many small and mid-sized companies as well, especially in Germany. A lot of small and mid-sized companies having very nice products for this kind of project to reduce energy costs, to reduce energy consumption. Vauban City, we've seen the panels on the roof. Some of them are almost 20 years old. Of course, there will be a certain time to upgrade, give them new generation of solar panels for the roofs. This is going to increase the efficiency and the output of energy. And maybe a few years later, you can improve your facade of the building, save more energy for heating and cooling.
Overdeveloped and overpriced downtown residential areas can no longer provide comfortable housing. Perhaps a real smart city can begin at a location a little outside of the city.
It's very difficult to buy or to rent affordable flats. Because of course, if you have a very high quality of life and you are very close to the city center, in a free market society, even if you do some social housing and so on, some years ago, the city administration decided, for example, to build a new district outside the limit of the physical limit of the city, which is still very well connected. Will be very well connected with an existing tram line, which will be prolonged.
An eco-friendly playground built only with rocks and lumber, without steel and plastic. To the children growing up in Vauban, city and nature may not be conflicting ideas. In the past, man built cities to keep nature out. Human beings are part of nature and came to long for it again. Now, smart cities are trying to provide that primal living environment through a new paradigm in urban policy.
Smart city is all about the people and also to think about the human being. No matter where you live, if you want to live in a smart city, you're not talking about 5 or 10 years. You're talking about more than 100 years you're living in this smart city. Then, it's a very simple answer. We need to remember people, a human being who lives in smart city.
Smart city is no longer a city just in your imagination. Now that the vision is clear, the smart cities of tomorrow will come in the shape that we all dreamed of. They must exist for humans. Smart City, the new future city, is a city that brings nature and humankind together.